I'm going ghost!
He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom. He's gonna catch 'em all 'cause he's Danny Phantom.
Ever since 14-year-old Danny Fenton went inside his parents' Ghost Zone portal and obtained his ghost powers, he went from a weak little dweeb to an insanely strong half-human, half-ghost, butt-kicking machine. It's been a while since I've done a How Strong Is video on a character from one of my favorite cartoon series, but recently I've been seeing a lot of people finding my How Strong Is Grandfather video I uploaded a year back, so I've been getting more of an itch to do these types of videos again. Plus, my most watched video on my channel is my How Strong Is Spinel video, and I still can't believe that video is over 1 million views. It's insane. For these types of videos, I take a character from a cartoon and list/calculate their feats like speed, strength, endurance, special unique powers, etc. to see how strong they really are. But before we get into the nitty-gritty, I still want to point out that the vast majority of people who watch my videos aren't actually subscribed to my channel, so if you haven't yet, please consider subscribing. It helps me out a lot more than you might think, and you'll be able to see my videos a lot easier than before. In a lot of my previous videos, it was a tad hard to go in depth on some of these characters just due to lack of screen time / use of their strengths in a fighting setting. But the great thing about Danny Phantom is he partakes in fighting another ghost in just about every single episode of the series. First of all, Danny is shown to have incredibly high durability. Any ghost or half ghost has an incredible amount of durability. They're capable of being thrown, punched, kicked by an opponent several miles and would still be able to get up and continue fighting. A good example of Danny's enhanced durability is when Ember McLean used her guitar fist attack on him in the episode Fanning the Flames. The punch sent him from the edge of the main stage towards the way back of the fan crowd on the lower half of the arena. He shook off that attack like it was nothing and phased through the floor to begin his next counterattack on Ember. With Danny himself probably being a little over 5 feet tall, it looked like he was knocked at least 50 feet high and another few hundred feet far away from the stage. To treat an attack like that as if you only got hit in the head with a mildly fast-moving soccer ball is incredibly impressive. Another good example of Danny's durability is when he fought Technus 2.0 in the episode Identity Crisis. During their fight inside the mall, Technus threw Danny into the air with enough force to have Danny fly through the brick side of the building into an outdoor garbage container. Let me put this into perspective so y'all can understand just how much force Technus used to throw Danny. A human fist is capable of breaking a single brick if the hand reaches a speed of at least 24 miles per hour. With said hand at this level of speed, it would exert the force of 3,000 newtons or 675 pounds onto that brick. And the main reason the brick is even able to break in the first place is because the force to break it is being concentrated into an area the size of a fist, which is relatively small. Danny is a grown teenager and broke through several bricks when Technus hurled him. I want to say about 10 or so bricks worth of wall were broken off when Danny went through that building. It's a little bit difficult to tell because of how the break in the wall looks. To break through 10 bricks, Danny would need to be traveling through the air at as fast as 240 miles per hour with 30,000 newtons of force / 6,750 pounds of force to break through those. To be honest, it was probably even faster with even more force than that though, since Danny's whole body is way bigger than a fist with the bricks being stuck together with an adhesive too. But trying to figure out the math for that is borderline impossible, so I just multiplied the original equation by 10 to get the absolute bare minimum. And this bare minimum is still insane, by the way. This was not only a great scene to show how durable Danny is, but to show how much raw power Technus 2.0 has too. Absolute beasts, both of them. In terms of speed, it mainly comes down to Danny's flying. When running in his ghost form, it looks like he's about the same speed as in his human form, but ghost flying is a different story. In the episode Maternal Instincts, he said he was able to fly at 112 miles per hour while mocking Vlad. Granted, he admitted to being bad at math here, so I don't know how accurate that statement necessarily was. Plus, he was able to keep up with a flying plane in the first episode, and planes fly at around 575 miles per hour, by the way, so incredibly fast. Danny, of course, has incredible physical strength in his ghost form too. A notable use of Danny's physical strength I want to use here is from the episode Forever Phantom, when he's able to carry an entire school bus full of kids while flying. A school bus by itself without any passengers already weighs around 24,387 pounds. But we gotta factor the kids on the bus too. Assuming every seat has an elementary school kid in a seat with each kid weighing around, 50 pounds or so, that would bring the weight total to around 25,587 pounds, potentially a little higher or a little lower than that if we factor in the driver's weight and if the bus has less than 24 seats. Figuring out the math for that though is sort of impossible because of how many possibilities there could be, especially with the size of the bus driver. Needless to say, I definitely wouldn't want to arm wrestle this kid. Of course, with Danny being a ghost, he was given tons of unique powers on top of all that superhuman lifting, speed, and endurance. Like all ghosts, he's able to fly, turn invisible, become intangible, and overshadow other humans. This makes him pretty much unbeatable to most human characters in the show with the exception of Freak shows / sometimes his own parents due to having ghost countering technology, or in Freakshow's case, a gauntlet that controls life itself. Shout out to Thanos. The invisibility / intangibility can be super versatile, especially when it comes to helping other humans, because he can make them invisible or intangible if he's making physical contact with said person while using this power on himself. One of his signature offensive abilities is his green ghost ray, an attack where Danny releases ecto energy from usually his hands, sometimes his cheeks too. This power is capable of breaking through / destroying most man-made objects like buildings, which would make this power a lone building level. This power can be used in many different ways as well. There's the standard beam usage, projectile, wave format, a repulsion field, amongst others. Cloning is another notable ability Danny has, although he doesn't use it that much due to the fact that he didn't unlock this ability until later in the series, even though it was first shown by Vlad Plasmius in the 7th overall episode. He's been shown to make up to 3 clones of himself that can use ecto energy attacks too. Granted, even by the end of the show, he was still pretty rusty with this ability, so once he hits adulthood, he'd be much better at using it consistently. Danny later unlocked cryokinesis as well. His cryokinesis allows him to unleash a wave of cold energy, shoot ice-powered beams from his eyes and hands, and much more. This was probably my favorite power of his. If it wasn't for this power, he wouldn't have been able to defeat Undergrowth. I love that episode so much because it taught even non-Pokemon players that ice is indeed super effective against grass. This power was mainly used to immobilize an opponent rather than completely finish them off. However, most ghosts are able to break free from this ice relatively quickly. Now for Danny's most broken ability, the Fearsome Ghostly Wail. This power allows Danny to release an incredible destructive stream of ecto energy through his vocal cords while making a wailing sound. A perfect example to show how much force the Ghostly Wail packs is when Danny fought his future self. When young Danny used the wail on Dark Danny got sent flying at least a full street block long, crashed into the front of a building, then that same building collapsed when a car hit by the wail hit the same spot. The math for this is tough, so I'm going to just use the Technus scene as a reference. 6,750 pounds of force was used to break through 10 bricks. Let's say this entire building was made up of 10,000 or so bricks. I think that's a decent guesstimate. So roughly 6,750,000 pounds of force was put into that ghostly wheel to make this building collapse. That is unreal. That ability alone is city level, I think. This ability can take out weaker ghosts in one shot too. The main drawback is it's mainly used as a last resort move because it drains his energy super quickly. Sometimes so much so that he'll turn back into his human form after using it. After taking all these abilities into consideration, I'd say Danny is around small country / major country level of strong. The ghostly wail combined with other uses of his ecto energy are enough to get him that high, but factoring in everything else too just solidifies it even more. What's crazy though is I'm still not sure if he's even the strongest ghost character overall in terms of ghostly abilities alone. One of the main reasons Danny is able to win a lot of his fights with other ghosts is because of his access to anti-ghost technology, like the Fenton Thermos, the Ectoskeleton, the Ghost Zone Portal, and more. I think characters like Vlad Plasmius or Pariah Dark could potentially beat Danny if no human tech was involved in the fight. It really is a shame that the show ended after 3 seasons. The finale was decent, but it felt like a lot more could have been done. How cool would it have been if we got some type of time skip for the finale? I would have lost my mind. Then we would have been able to see how much stronger Danny could have gotten. I think that just about does it for this video though. I high-key wish I thought of this idea sooner because it would have been a great idea to have out on Halloween, but I'm an idiot, so. And I know there's some specific uses of Danny's powers I didn't cover, but I didn't really think covering literally everything was necessary because some of these specific variants, like his weather controlling powers or his usage of the reality gauntlet, were only used on screen once or twice, so they didn't really seem super noteworthy. Honest to God, dude, if he kept those weather powers, he might have been planetary level, real talk. It felt like I covered all the core stuff though, so I should be Gucci. Let me know in the comments down below your thoughts on Danny Phantom's strength. Do you agree or disagree with me putting him at country level? Do you think he's the strongest character in all of Danny Phantom? I'd love to know your thoughts. Per usual, if you enjoyed the video, be sure to leave a like down below. Also, once again, reminding you to hit that subscribe button if you haven't. And I will see you guys next time. Peace out. Take care. Bye-bye.